right, Anabolic Academy on Series and Cylinder's Bodybuilding. I am your host, John Olivia, and I will be answering all the questions. So if this is the first time tuning into an Anabolic Academy, what we do on here is people send me questions, and I answer them questions on here. So you can send me the questions on Instagram, which is Series and Cylinders. You can email me at unclejohn1201@gmail, or my other email, john_Olivia@yahoo, or on Facebook, which is my name, John Livia. You'll also see the Series and Cylinders logo come up. And that's it. And I will answer your questions. So let's jump right into it. I got a couple of Facebook questions. So let's go to Facebook. Facebook, Thomas Andrew. What did you make of Clarita not winning? Was he robbed? No, I don't think he was robbed. I think Clarita's waist is a little too distended now. It's a little thicker. It's a little distended. And because he's so short, it's taking away from his V taper. You know, if he would have came in like he did last year or even the year before, he probably would have won. But Keon has this beautiful V-taper symmetry, even though he wasn't as shredded and as hard as Clarita. Keon has a very small waist with a beautiful X-frame and beautiful V-taper, and he was in good enough conditioning standing next to Clarita that he was able to take it. That's what happens in these high-level contests. If you leave the door open this much, you know, the next guy is so good that he's going to take it. So you got to make sure that all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. So I don't know if it's just because, you know, Clarita's getting old and his waist is just getting thicker, which happens a lot of times when we get older, or he's pushing the size game. And because of eating, his waist is getting thicker. I don't know. But hopefully he could fix it. And if he can fix it and control his midsection, he could definitely take it back, but we'll see. A lot of times once that happens, it's difficult. But if I know Clarita, he will go back to the drawing board, and people will tell him what the problem is, and he will work on it. That's for sure. If he can fix it, is one thing, but he will work on it. That's for sure. Next question on Facebook. It is last Facebook question. Brian Nasser, no question, but get back on that stage. No way in hell am I competing again. Never happening. Forget it. Jesus Christ could come off the cross. Mother Mary could come and knock on my door and say, please do it. I'd say, Mary, sorry. Tell your son I ain't doing it. It's never happening. But thank you. I appreciate it. You appreciate the questions. Okay. All right. I have one email question from Tom Fenimore. The question is, what do I think of Larry Wheels gaining 53 pounds in 5 days? Well, apparently Larry Wheels did a video after he did he did 2 classic physique contests, right? He won the NPC level 1, and then he went into the amateur Olympia, and he came in second, and he had, you know, what's referred to as post-contest rebound. So what do I think of it? I think he probably ate too much after the contest. Okay, so here's what happens when you're dieting for a contest, right? When you're dieting for a contest, a lot of people the last few days, they cut back their water, okay? And then they take diuretics. So the diuretics are getting rid of sodium and the water out of your system, right? And then since you're cutting back water and you're not taking in sodium, and your body's getting rid of sodium, you might be taking in sodium, but your body's getting rid of it at a faster rate than usual because you're taking the diuretics. What happens is a particular hormone goes up called aldosterone, right? Aldosterone. It goes up, and and it goes up real high. And what aldosterone does is it actually holds on to the sodium that you're putting in its body, because it goes into this like panic mode, and it's like we're not getting any sodium because it's not healthy not to have sodium in your body. So it holds on to it. The whole idea of that hormone is for sodium balance. So if it's very high. So then what happens is after the contest is over, you go, fuck it, I'm just gonna eat. And you eat like a pig, and you eat a bunch of garbage. You go with cheeseburger, and you eat pizza, and you eat French fries, and you eat this heavily sodium filled food. But your aldosterone level is still very high. So it's still maintaining whatever sodium you're giving it, because your body didn't regulate itself yet. to a normal diet. So it's holding on to this water. So he's not really building muscle from it. He's actually retaining a lot of water, right? And you could feel in the gym. Usually a lot of times the pump is insane, or you get lower back pain, or so on and so forth. But this is common, right? This is common. It happened to me. My first contest, 1999, when I did Mr. Staten Island. What diuretic was I using? Diazod. I was using Diazod, and I was not drinking much water, and I wasn't even taking any sodium. Like, this was my first contest. And I remember I must have gained 30 pounds like the first couple of days. And, I didn't know what was going on. Nobody told me that this was going to happen. My family didn't know. I was a young kid. I was still living at home. So I went to the emergency room, and they didn't know what was wrong with me. Nobody had any idea about bodybuilding and post-contest rebound and water. They had no idea. And they had no clue what was going on. And then afterwards, I started, knocking on some doors and asking people that. They're like, oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. No big deal. Next time, just control your diet. So Larry probably didn't control his diet, ate like a pig. And this is what happens. This is very normal. But don't worry, because I understand Larry is going to start doing ping pong next week, and everybody will stop to watch Larry Wheels play ping pong. Whatever. All right. Next question. All right. Well, let's go to the Instagram questions. From Fran is the man. All right. He is the man, because he always sends me great questions. First question from Fran is the man on Instagram. Any tips on not cheating on your diet with the holidays coming up? Yeah, this is really important. All right, you ready for the tip? When the holiday comes, enjoy yourself. The next day, go back on your diet. When Christmas Day comes around, enjoy yourself. And the next day, go back on your diet. Nothing's going to happen if you don't bring your food with you to grandma's, and you eat what she makes, and you enjoy yourself with your family for a day. Nothing's going to happen. You're not going to hurt yourself. You're not going to not be in shape for a contest that you're going to do in fucking May. So stop being crazy and just enjoy yourself with your family and enjoy some good food. And then the next day, go back to eating your tilapia and green beans, or whatever the fuck is it that you eat. All right, next question from Fran is the man. How do they judge other classes like men's and women's physique, wellness, and bikini? I actually didn't know. I had to ask a couple of people. I actually texted Dave Palumbo, and I spoke to Jason Owens, because they know what they're talking about. But I didn't know. But basically, the actual judging scores are the same. It's scored the same way, but obviously every class has different criteria, right? So, the men's physique, they have all those stupid poses that they do. So that's got to be judged, the pose, do this pose and that pose, right? And don't forget not to judge the legs, and then bodybuilding obviously has, the posing around and the 8 mandatory poses and the quarter turns and all that crap. Do they even do the quarter turns anymore? I think so. I haven't been to a show in a while, but yeah, I'm pretty sure because when I'm at the show, I'm usually at a booth, and I don't actually watch the show. And whatever, doesn't matter. So yeah, and then bikini, they're looking for, bend over, show us your glutes and your ass, and you're judging that pose. And, wellness, that, it's all different. The figure and fitness, right? The fitness, they got to do the whole acrobatic thing on stage, and they got to judge that. But the actual scoring process is the same, right? The lower the score, the better you are, the better you're doing. So that's the best way I can answer that question. Next question, Joe from Fran is the man. How can you tell if someone has muscle maturity? All right. So the best way to describe muscle maturity and not muscle maturity is Derek Lunsford versus Hadi Chupin. That is the best way. Hadi Chupin is a lot older than Derek. Well, I don't know, maybe 10 years, whatever. It doesn't matter. But muscle maturity happens over time. When you're lifting heavy weights for a long period of time, those muscle fibers, not only are they growing, but they're kind of getting intertangled as they grow too. And then you could actually see when it happens, you can actually see the muscle fiber through the chest, through the back, shoulders, wherever, right? Where on Derek, you really can't see it that well because Derek's muscle is new because he's young and he hasn't been bodybuilding as long as Heidi Chupin. So that's how you could tell, right? Dorian Yates's back was like that. King Kamali's back was like that. And don't get me wrong, you have freaks of nature like Nick Walker, who I don't, looks like he's been bodybuilding for 20 years, but he's still a young guy. But basically, that's how you could tell. How you could tell is when you actually could see the striations and the muscle fiber through the skin, right? I mean, it looks grainy and hard and nasty, right? Where Derek's muscle is new and it looks a little bit smoother, right? And it's not that he's not as lean, it's just the fact that he doesn't have the same muscle maturity as a Heidi Chupin. That's the best way I could kind of describe it from seeing, a bodybuilder, right? Next question. What's the most memorable posing routine you ever watched? I don't know, man. I don't know. I never watched the posing routine that was like taken back, like most basic thing. I've never done that. I've never I always enjoyed either the psychos on stage, like a Mike Matarazzo, or the entertainers on stage, like a King Kamali, or Fred Smalls. But I always like the psychos, Mike Matarazzo. That was always when the hard music came on and he would fucking just bug out and the tongue hanging out and him doing the most muscular whatever, and his calves look like bowling balls and he was just a beast on stage. Like, I like that stuff. Like this whole, I understand that, like, when you watch a poser like a Sergio Oliva Jr. or a Samson Dowda, and they're able to transition beautifully, and they know you're watching every step they take, and they can expose their good points during the transition into the pose. I understand that it takes a lot of technique, and it is really, really impressive. I just don't enjoy it as much as the psychos on stage, just posing like a nut, and like just because to me that's bodybuilding. To me, it's like the barbarian on stage, the biggest fucking hardest motherfucker on stage. Anyway, I don't have any. So if I had to say anyone, I guess I saw Mike Matarazzo guest pose one time and I loved it. I guess that would be about it. Next question. How would Keon Pearson place if he also competed in open shows like Shaun Clarida? That's a good question. I think he would hold his own. If you put him in like, the Legion or Chicago Pro, he's cracking the top 5, definitely. As far as winning, I don't know. The guys are really good in the open now. There's a lot of talent. But he definitely would hold his own, just from his symmetry alone. Yeah, he would hold his own, especially if he came in the shape that he came in at this year's 212 Olympia. Yeah, he would definitely hold his own. There's a chance that he could win something like a Chicago Pro or New York Pro. He definitely cracked the top 5, maybe the top 3. He could definitely hold his own. Look, if you're winning a 212 Olympia, you can hold your own in the open. Definitely. It's just that it's not as even anymore because you're a smaller person. They gave the 212 division for people that were really short and couldn't really compare to the big open guys. So you're the best of the 212. So when you're the best of the 212, you could hold your own against the open guys. But it's just not gonna, like, listen, if there was a 212 in the 90s or the early 2000s, you'd have Shaun Ray, a 212 champion, or a Lee Priest, a 212 champion. Those guys held their own against the big boys. But at the time, it was every man for themselves. So it's the same kind of thing. He would definitely hold his own. Anyway, I think that's it for the questions. Thank you very much. This is Anabolic Academy. Remember, like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell so that you know when the best of John Livy is coming your way, and then you can watch it and enjoy yourself. All right. Later, people. Peace.
you.